Welcome to the Killshot MMA podcast for UFC Vegas 108, Taira versus Park. I'm Sniper. With me, as always, is Monk. We're going to break down 11 of the 12 fights on this card. We are not going to cover Austin Bashi and John Yanis. That's going to be saved for DFS Army members. So if you want to join DFS Army, make sure, link in the description, join up, get access to an optimizer, cheat sheets, projection models, all the good stuff. Check there. The reason we're not covering it in the pod, we record these Tuesday nights and we also live stream. So make sure you're following me on YouTube. Sniper Wins Tuesday, sometime between 8:30, 9:30 Eastern, somewhere in that ballpark. We do these live, and we don't have DraftKings salaries for that fight, so we cannot break it down on this show. But we'll cover the rest of this card this week and next week. We got fights in and out galore, Monk, but still plenty of DraftKings money to be made. How are you, and are you ready for this card?
Pretty good. It was an underdog heavy card last week, and it went some ups and some downs. I think all three of the dogs I picked, though, with DeRitter, Guskov, and my guy Martin Budai, all came through.
Yep.
It didn't help me much.
You got to add Guskov for me. Guskov, Ricci, Budai.
I can't wait. Can't wait to see what he's going to do, because everybody, people still aren't on him except me and you. So we'll see what happens there, but I'm excited for several of these fights. A couple of them seem a little dud potential, but even the late notice replacement, I'm fine with that. I like Rebeshki and Ribovic. That's good enough for me.
All right, before we dive into the fights, let's just do our recap on what we got going here, because there have been a lot of changes. Tatsuro Taira was supposed to face Amir Albazi. Obviously, Albazi is out, and I covered the main event. Park is in. Taira versus Park. Park was supposed to face Ursig next week. Ursig is now going to face Ode Osborne. I believe that's going to be at bantamweight. They're going to have that fight. So more to talk about that next week. Bashi was supposed to take on Francis Marshall in a grappler's delight. Instead, we got Bashi and Giannis on short notice replacement. Azamat Bakoyev could not stay on this card. He was going to face Torres Finney. Then he was supposed to face Yusri Belgari, and neither of those panned out. So he's just not on this card. And Andrey Lima is out against Felipe Bunes, and Bunes still gets a possibly a worse match. He was already a dog, but then here comes Rafael Estevam. And okay, cool. So those are all the fights that are off. Things moving around. We do have 12 fights total, but 11 on this card. Before we get into it, do me a favor. Smash the like button. Follow me on YouTube and X. Subscribe on YouTube, please. Sniper Wins. Make sure you follow Monk Maddox. Monk, M-M-A-T-I-C-S, Monk Maddox. We'll do that up front instead of at the end. Appreciate all you guys. And if you are watching live, go ahead, drop in some comments. We'll have some fun with the discussion along the way. All right, that's enough intro. I think I did a pretty good job this week. I got lit up in Discord for not letting Monk go first enough last week. And to you, Pulpo, I will say, fuck you. And I'll try and do better also. I will try. I heard, but I've known Pulpo for years at this point. It's kind of messed up. The DFS Army Discord community is a wild group of animals that I love all of you. All
Very true.
Let's move on and let's talk the first fight of the night. Ketlen Souza, Piera Rodriguez. Rodriguez is the favorite, minus 188. Ketlen is plus 163. Fight goes to decision, minus 275. Should have 3 rounds of action. So immediately you got to start thinking about Ketlen Souza in cash, or do you? Hint, hint, spoiler. We'll get there in a second. Your salaries for this fight. Piera is 8,700. Ketlen Souza is 7,500. Monk, who you got?
I mean, I'm a Piera Rodriguez fan. She made a huge mistake with the headbutt after dominating Carnelossi for like 8 full minutes. But it's basically Piera Rodriguez is going to wrestle. She shot takedowns in every fight. Sam Hughes fight, she shot 11. And in her Knutson fight, she shot 10, and she was successful. What is that? 13 times out of 21. That's a damn good percentage. And Souza gets taken down in every single fight. Marnik Mann took her down twice on 5 attempts. And even Angela Hill, not known for her grappling, took her down twice on 6 attempts as well. So that's probably how this fight's going to go. Rodriguez might be one of the most aggressive fighters at strawweight, to be honest, and I love to see it. She mixes in her striking when she can. She, tons of ground and pound is where she gets most of her high volume, significant striking numbers from. And yeah, Ketlen Souza, 64% takedown defense. There's not much else to say. I hope we do get 15 minutes. If that's the case, Piera can pay off her $8,700 salary extremely well.
I think she's live for a sub as well, even at those minus 275 odds to go to a decision. There's other cash spots I'm going to highlight that we will get to. I'm going to start doing a cash show every week. Did it last week. Make sure, again, I keep saying subscribe, but try to help me out, guys. But there will be, even besides that, just so you know, on the channel, there will be a cash game specific video dropped in the Discord. Couple options last week. One would have tanked and one got me across the cash line. So it was a messed up week last week. But we'll keep talking cash strategy. And while Souza would normally be an option, not this week for the reasons we highlighted, I like Piera Rodriguez a lot. Minus 200 actually feels like a pretty fair number if you want to start considering parlay pieces. I think she gets takedown. Souza gives them up. The only person she lost to is really lost to is Jillian Robertson, who is a grappling beast. I think Piera, if you don't have grappling against her, you're in trouble. And I don't think Ketlen's got the grappling. Give me Piera Rodriguez in all formats, and I will be underweight to borderline fading Ketlen Souza.
For sure. Just the last thing, the under 2.5 was at plus 250. These women have 7 combined losses. 6 of them are inside the distance.
That's interesting. Worth a look at big plus money. All right, as we mentioned in the intro, poor Felipe Bunes. He gets Rafael Estevam. Estevam is minus 460. Bunes is plus 360. Fight goes to decision, minus 120, leaning towards going to decision because Estevam, while he's a big favorite, not typically a finishing machine, he is going to wrestle fuck you again and again and again. That'll cost you $9,500 on this card. Bunes is $6,700. Monk, where you going?
I mean, I hate to give almost the same breakdown here, but Estevam, like you said, he's going to wrestle fuck him. 11 for 19 against Jose. Jesus Aguilar, which, that's Jesus Aguilar. But again, against Charles Johnson, who a lot of people, including myself, consider a pretty decent flyweight, 3 of 22, but had 9.5 minutes basically of control time in each of those 2 fights. That's the formula. That's what's going to happen. He's very low volume on the feet, obviously, because you know what his game plan is. I just said. And Bunes got taken down by Joshua Van once. It was 1 of 1. That's the only time he's been even had a takedown attempted against him. I know he only has 2 fights. But, that does not spell paradise for Felipe Bunes here. 95 is expensive, but if we do get all 15 minutes again, and this one as of earlier today was minus 120, so basically a pick 'em to go to decision, maybe slightly edging towards that outcome. Estevam's gonna, has the potential to score 100 and whatever points, 120 points. He put up, I forget, he scored terribly in one of his fights. That would have been the Charles Johnson fight, but against Aguilar, it went 15 minutes as well, and he put up 116. So it's a tough ask, 9,500, but I think he's great for cash. I think he's great for all formats, to be honest. And Felipe Bunes probably worth at least a flyer, just in case Rafael, slips on a banana peel or hurts himself on a takedown, or so. I have no idea, but I'm heavily favoring Estevam here.
I have some other places I'll take a shot. I don't think Bunes is going to be one of them. Estevam does what Bunes wants to do way better. Unless for whatever reason the grappling cancels out. I just don't think it will. I'm not going to say Estevam is an all-in for that reason, and he's pretty expensive. And I think there's probably one other spot I like a little bit more for cheaper, so that's why he's not going to get the core play recognition here. But I do like Estevam a bunch. I'll be under on Bunes, probably over on Estevam if I can get there in 9,500. It's not like my first option to get overweight to because of the price tag, but I like him. It's just a really bad stylistic matchup for Felipe Bunes. Give me Estevam in all formats. No need to overcomplicate it. Keep it simple, stupid, as the kids say. Do the kids say that? No, it's the old men like us say.
Exactly.
Fucking old. All right, let's move on and let's talk Nick Klein, Andrey Pulyaev. Pulyaev is minus 150. Klein is plus 130. I have to tell you, after I watched tape for this, I had no fucking idea what the line was going to be. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess pick him, and that's probably where I landed too. A little bit of a hint there, but I remember broke it down. So my process to break it down, watch it. I'm like, okay, what do I think the line should be this way? If something pops off, I can decide, oh, there's value there, and I can start looking at bets from there. like I said, opened the books and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to see right now. Not a clue. So, but we got minus 150 Pulyaev, plus 130 Nick Klein. Fight ends inside the distance. This I did expect, minus 200. Smells like a pretty good GPP fight, as we should see a finish. These guys typically like to, no, as everybody likes to, typically see their wins end by finish. Pulyaev is 8,400. Klein is 7,800. Monk, I think a pretty high variance fight here. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the underdog. I don't feel as strongly as I did in the last two winners that I picked, but like you said, it should be close to a pick 'em. Pulyaev, the main thing for Pulyaev, I see Klein, even though he's only had let's see, one of 9 takedowns. So against Abdul Malik, he did get beat in the second round, but Malik was like 90 something, 700, something like that, expected to, just smash this dude. And he did it to an extent, but Klein held on, long enough and did enough offensively to completely keep him off the optimal lineup. I mean, Abdul Malik probably, I don't even know if he 10x'd without looking. I'm not going to scroll down right now because it's not important. But yeah, Pulyaev can give up takedowns. He has only given up, I believe, one or so just in the second round, but the control time he gives up is scary. 2.5 minutes on average so far. I know this is only 2 fights and one's probably DWCS, but it's like 1.5 minutes to 2.5 minutes of control time in each round, and that is extremely scary. Statistically, he's lost the first 2 rounds total. I know in Liam Anderson, he did get that win. He allowed 3 strikes and a takedown, but a bunch of control time. And then against CLD, nothing happened in that fight. He landed 18 strikes in 15 minutes. Managed 2 minutes of control, didn't complete a takedown, and he got out-controlled basically 3-1. So I'm going to have to go with Nick Klein here. This is a super high variance fight. But yeah, like you said, I think 7,800 is probably the value side here, unless we see some sort of early finish on Pulaev's side. But I just have to go with Klein. I don't feel supremely confident, but if he can get his wrestling game going and get Pulyaev down, I think he's got a good shot here.
Yeah, pretty much right in lockstep on this one. I do, even though I expected to be pick'em, I actually did lean slightly towards the Klein side because he's a little bit of wrestling upside. The eye test, he just looks a little better. But again, the line, Puliev's probably beaten higher level competition. It's if you were just to wiki cap. It's really fine margins. If the line was flipped, I'd probably tell you to play a little bit more Pulyaev.
Sure.
It's that close, but no, maybe I'd be even because I did pick Klein. I probably would say more just play it even. In this case, I think my strategy here, because I lean towards Klein, I think he's a little better, has the grappling upside. I'm probably going to be field weight is like my max on Pulyaev to under, and I'll probably be field to a touch over on Klein, but nothing where if he loses, it's going to break my day. It is a fight to get over the field on total because minus 200 inside the distance prop, and we have a mid range in terms of the salaries. So that's why I'm not going to go crazy under on Pulyaev because any kind of second round win probably gets him in the optimal, and we have a minus 200 ITD prop. So give me Klein, but it is one to target both sides of, and no thank you in cash games. Unless if you're going to tell me Nick Klein is like your last man in cash.
Right. Yeah.
And you've already played, I mean, I'll get ahead of myself. You've already played Nora, Cornell, and Neil Magny, and this is who you need, then okay, fine. All right, let's move on to, I thought it was going to be the aforementioned Nora Cornell, although I have hinted at this fight already in this episode. Rodolfo Vieira, Tresean Gore. Rodolfo Vieira is minus 210. Tresean Gore is plus 180. Fight ends inside the distance, minus 215. Your DraftKings salaries for this one. Rodolfo is 8,900. Tresean Gore is 7,300. Monk, any idea how I referenced this fight earlier? Got a guess?
Did you mention something about a very shitty fighter or something?
No, I mentioned something about my most confident play on the card.
You
were close.
Yeah.
The only person I think I have ranked dollar for dollar above Estevam. Before we have Austin Bashi, Bashi's going to be way up there too. But right now, 8,900 Rodolfo Vieira feels like a steal. Where are you going?
Yeah, it kind of does. I somehow in my write-up talked myself into what happens if this gets to the third round because Vieira's looked awful as the later the fights have gone. In fact, every time he's been to decision, which is twice in the UFC, he has lost. But it's not to Tresean Gore. It's to fucking Andrey Petroski and Chris Curtis. I think Tresean Gore is probably terrible. He's beaten
He
Josh.
looked better, by the way, in this.
Who?
this
Gore?
in this and no, Vieira in the third round. Like he
Oh.
lost, but he still 26. He slowed down, but he didn't like he normal slowed down. Remember, Chris Curtis, as much as I hate the stupid motherfucker, tends to get stronger as the fight goes on. Vieira showed improvement from when he almost died against Fluffy Hernandez.
Yeah.
And that was
that was brutal. That was brutal. But again, Fluffy is one of the premier middleweights, in my opinion.
Yes.
Currently. So, and probably even, he was getting there back then. Tresean Gore has wins over Fremd and Antonio Tricoli. Like, that means
by
nothing.
Guillotine, by the way.
By guillotine. He lost, a not very close fight to Brian Battle in his debut. Cody, you lose to Cody Brundage in less than 4 minutes. That's a problem. Marco Tulio second round win, and he scored like 140 points or something outright, 144.6. So Gore is out here giving up points. He's giving up finishes, and I just don't think he's very good. Yeah, he's got subs on his record. Vieira is probably the best grappler, jiu-jitsu player, I should say, maybe in the UFC. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but he's definitely on a list on a top 5 for sure. And he's attempting tons of takedown. 20 against Curtis, none successful, but 7, 3, 11 against Petrosky. He's going to get Gore down, and he's going to submit him. It could be super early. It could be late, but I think he gets the finish, and I think he basically dominates Tresean Gore. What is Gore going to do? Guillotine him? No.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to win by guillotine. Every time, and to me, even in his wins, for whatever, Tresean Gore seems to look worse. I think I don't see any improvement from Tresean Gore. Rodolfo Vieira is a high-level BJJ player who seems to be getting better and improving everywhere, whereas Tresean Gore, at least in my mind's eye, is getting worse. Give me Vieira in all formats. I'll be overweight. He'll be in my cash lineup. It's got big upside. I think a decent floor, because if Tresean beats him, maybe it's a fluky KO, I guess, but that could happen with anybody at 170 or over, I suppose. Yeah. But give me Rodolfo Vieira in all formats. Love the play. Favorite play on the card. And I will be pretty much fading Tresean Gore. And if he beats me, well, it just wasn't meant to be. And I'll be here next week cursing out Tresean Gore and Chris Curtis. Yeah. But it's a rough one to me. Vieira,
and Vieira striking's also, it's not great. It's gotten loads better since he debuted.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to another guy. Speaking of people you can't trust ever again. Rinya Nakamura, Nathan Fletcher. This one is giving me fucking just heart palpitations to think about. Rinya Nakamura is -400. Nathan Fletcher is +300. Fight goes to decision is -180 because the big favorite, Rinya Nakamura, is a big-time wrestler who will cost you 9,300. Fletcher will cost you 6,900. Why is it giving me heart palpitations? Because Rinya Nakamura, everyone knows, is an Olympic level big-time wrestler. That's how he's going to win fights in the UFC. He lost to Muin Gafurov last time out and shot 1 takedown.
Yep. 1.
So can't trust this motherfucker when it comes to game plans. I remember watching this fight just
stunned.
Jaw on the ground. I'm like, is I don't want to say this fight is fixed, but it doesn't feel right. Nothing about this feels good.
No.
So Rinya Nakamura, yeah. So you can't. He's got the upside. Monk, what are you doing with this?
I think I'm gonna not full fade, but I am definitely gonna fade him at this salary. Like, he's only scored well against road to the UFC fights. If there's not even technically scoring on that, obviously, but if you put it on, it's tremendous. And then his debut was against Kazama. He put up 140. After that, Fernie Garcia, who I think Matt Frivola, was that the Frivola fight where he scored like 170,000 points on him with 55 knockdowns? I guess one less than Stephen Wynn last week, and then Carlos Vera.
Exactly. Damn it, you beat me to it. I was gonna make it Stephen Wynn, Muhammad Yahya.
Son of a bitch. And then Carlos Vera, 90.69 points. Like, that's not even 10xing you. You're not gonna make the optimal lineup. And then he does basically nothing against Gafurov. Absolutely nothing. So we cannot trust him, like you said. He landed 2 strikes a minute in that fight, and then like 2 minutes of control time. That's it. Nathan Fletcher, he got taken down 6 of 12 times from Loughran. So the window
That's
for
Nakamura, the problem. It's right there for Rinya.
Exactly. The window is there. Like, all you have to do is that.
Hell.
Fletcher did, attempt 7 takedowns of his own. He landed 4 strikes a minute, which is basically double what Rinya lands. Now, Rinya has some fights where he has very high strikes per minute. I guarantee you those are all ground strikes. On the feet at distance, he does next to nothing. So I'm going to be fading him a little bit. Like I said, it's not a full fade. I'll be well under the field, however, but in case he does decide to wrestle. But if he doesn't, then what are we even looking at? He's not going to pay it off. Even if he does, I don't know if he pays it off. 3 of 3 against Vieira, 4 of 4 against Garcia with 9 and 13 minutes of control. And you just heard the scores that I read, like 90 points. That's not good enough. So that doesn't mean I'm playing Fletcher, but I'm not playing a ton of Nakamura.
The problem is the scoring potential is right there for Nakamura.
Mm-hmm.
The good news is that, and I guess the other bad news is that the other fight, the fighter who's priced above him, Kevin Vallejos, who's got more of upside? It's Nakamura. It's definitely Nakamura.
Yep.
Thank God for Bashi and Estevam. Like those two guys, 9K and above, are the priorities. But Rinya Nakamura, look, Nathan Fletcher being taken him 6 times by Karol and Lauren is concerning. Should be. I mean, still a split decision. But Nakamura just shoot the takedowns. Just shoot the takedowns. Now, granted, he got 3 against Carlos Vieira, but that was a ton of control time because Vieira just sat and played guard.
Yeah.
You have to go with Nakamura. He has to be the pick. I probably would tell you, I can't believe I'm going to say this. If again, is he cash priority? No. Is he someone who's finding cash? Yes, because how does Fletcher win this fight? I don't know. I don't know. So the decent floor, the ceiling is concerning. The other 2 guys I mentioned, I would rank above him. I'll be underweight to Fletcher, and hopefully Nakamura learns the game plan. But this is 100% your last fucking chance, buddy.
No shit.
You better shoot within the first 90 seconds. And honestly, if he gets through the first 2.5 minutes having not shot a takedown, I'm going to go live bet Nathan Fletcher.
Yeah.
For sure. Much. If he gets 2.5 minutes in, I will have pulled the trigger of a Nathan Fletcher live bet. So I'll go with Rinya Nakamura. Don't fuck this up, buddy. Okay, the aforementioned Kevin Vallejos is taking on Danny Silva. Vallejos minus 430. Danny Silva is plus 330. As you may have guessed by me saying, it's not a great fight to target. Well, actually, you know what? Inside the distance number is a little bit better than I thought. It's up at minus 175. Really interesting, actually. I'm a little surprised it's quite that juiced up.
Yep.
Your DraftKings salaries for this one, Vallejos is 9,400. Danny Silva is 6,900. Vallejos is a striker. He's got back-to-back first-round finishes against Sung Woo Choi and Cam Teague. Yes, he lost to Jean Silva, but that was by decision over 15 minutes. That ain't nothing to sneeze at. Yeah. Whereas Danny Silva is, for what it's worth, I know it's back-to-back split decisions against Lucas Almeida and Josh Kulabau. He's 2-0 in the UFC. You're going to keep getting better. He keeps stringing up wins. I understand why he's a big dog. Monk, how are you approaching this one for DFS?
This one is interesting. It's definitely one I want at least some of both sides. I'm picking Kevin to win for sure, but you have to play some Silva. I mean, he's going to be the second, third most cheapest fighter on the card by the time salaries are done. Both guys throw tremendous volume. Like Vallejos, 6.48 per minute. Silva's 7.3. Now, both guys, actually not. Silva does get outstruck, so he allows 8 strikes a minute, which is the main scare if you're a Danny Silva backer this week. But Kevin allows almost 6 strikes a minute. He has no wrestling, like you said, no control, no nothing, whereas Danny Silva is landing all that volume and takedowns and control time. It's not an overwhelming amount, but it is some, and that is enough to give me pause when it comes to Vallejos a little bit. I cannot say his name for some reason, his last name. That's one I just can't do. And it's easy and I can't do it. But yeah, 2 of 3 takedowns from Silva against Pacheco, 4 of 9, and then 1 of 3 against Almeida. He's getting decent control time, well, just in the Kulabau fight, but he's winning these split decisions. He was plus 185 in his debut. He was minus 270 against Almeida and got it done. He does allow way too many strikes, and that is the main selling point for Kevin Vallejos here. But if Silva starts mixing in grappling and holds Kevin down, how is he going to pay off his, $94? Yeah, $9,400 salary. I think we need a first-round win. maybe first to second round win for sure with a knockdown or two. And Silva's never been finished. So I think this is possibly too wide. It could look like I'm very wrong, and I'm fine with that because I'm going to have a ton of Vallejos as well. But I will be sprinkling in some Danny Silva here for sure.
I don't know if I'd go a ton of Vallejos, mostly because you have to make choices. And I got Bashi and Estevam up there. He's just going to fall under that. I do think he wins. I do agree it's a little bit wide. Potential is there, but he needs the first round KO. Am I really going to invest a lot in the guy who needs a first round KO? I think to really pay off. I do think Danny Silva is live-ish. It's going to be hard. I'm going to have some dogs I like straight up, but he's probably in that secondary range. I'll play some of him. I'm not going to cross him off. Vallejos wins into the distance is -150. Where's trying to find Vallejos wins in there? Wins in round 1 plus 300. Okay. Know how I feel about that. That's rough for DraftKings. So
Silva decisions plus 550.
Yeah, there's just, I think there's better options up in that price range. Danny Silva is live. I understand why Vallejos is favored. I do think he's a better striker, a little faster, a little more powerful. But Silva, like I said, he's a gamer. I think he'll be in the fight, and it's just kind of making choices when it comes to DraftKings. So it's a weird one. It's where you have to distinguish picks from DraftKings. Vallejos is the clear pick. Man, I don't think he makes for a great DraftKings play just based on the other options around.
Yep.
All right, let's move on and let's talk Neil Magny and Elizeu Zaleski, formerly known as Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. Zaleski -200. Magny is +170. Fight goes to decision, -150. DraftKings salary, Zaleski is 8,800. Magny is 7,400. Monk, are you as surprised at this line as I am?
100%. To the point where I don't understand it. Like, are we just looking at Neil Magny being 3-4 in his or 1-4, excuse me, in his last one? You know what I'm saying? Losing
that's exactly
what
I thought. That was where my head went into. Man, we did a lot of Neil Magny recency bias, and I sat here and I pulled up this page and I went, wait, Zaleski's 1-3 in his last 4 too. What the fuck are we talking about?
And it's Praches, Michael Morales, and Ian Machado Gary for Magny, and it's Chidi and Randy Brown for Dos Santos. He went to a draw with Renat, which, you know, on paper, he definitely lost that fight. The only times he has scored well, and by well, I mean like 96 points, was Zachary Scroggin, right? And then Benoit Saint-Denis, who was in the wrong weight class. I think that was even his debut. I don't remember, but those are the only times he scores well. His DraftKings points per win, whether it's finish or decision, is 10 to 20% below the divisional average. I don't want any part of this at 8,800. Like, I just don't get it at all. I don't even know what his average salary. He hasn't even been 8,800 in his past since 2021. The highest he's been is about 85, and now we're paying the most ever for probably one of his tougher opponents, honestly, in Neil Magny. This fight's probably going to decision, and I want the guy that's 7,400 that scores better and that can stay in a fight. So I picked Neil Magny straight up. He's somehow the younger fighter in this fight, which is rare these days for him. But yeah, I'm going with Neil Magny just to not get finished and to have clearly the better DraftKings upside.
Yeah, I think Magny is like the clear underdog play on the card, one of two. I think your underdogs in cash are really, really straightforward this week, but we'll get to that more on Thursday when I do that show. Both these guys, I think, let me read from my notes real quick. I believe I said, both these guys have a long UFC history of scoring like wet ass.
Yep.
Like neither one is a particularly good score. I think Magny should be favored. The only concern you can have about Neil Magny is that he's taken back-to-back first-round losses, knockouts, and pretty brutal knockouts, like Praches and Morales. Now, it's not the end loss to Machado Gary. It's not the caliber of competition. It's that wear and tear is a thing, and is he going to start to fall off? I don't think Zaleski is the kind of guy to challenge that, but it's MMA. It's a brutal sport. Start telling me punches are going to put out Magny quick. That's a problem. He took a lot of punishment in those fights, so I don't quite see that yet. I don't think Zaleski's going to be able to get Neil Magny down. He's got, throughout his career, really good. I mean, 53% seems really low. Thought he had pretty good takedown defense. But again, late in his career, it's been challenged a little bit against, Malott, Gary. He's really not getting taken down multiple times since the Michael Chiesa fight in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
On Johnny Hendricks. That was a different animal for, if you know, 2016 Johnny Hendricks. Big Rig, who I think is like a used car salesman now or something.
Something like that. Bouncer somewhere.
It's not great. I think Magny's just, I picked him just straight up. I'm probably going to have a bet on Neil Magny, probably. Think he's for sure the better DraftKings option. Will definitely be in my cash lineup. Primary option in GPPs, and I'll be underweight to damn near fading Zaleski. Magny is the spot here. I will say I'm going to get ahead of myself early here. I don't think this is going to be kill shot worthy. I kind of think this is going to be chalk this week. I kind of think we have a Neil Magny chalk week, which is
I am screwed.
which is a little bit concerning. I think it's going to be chalky. All right, let's move on and let's talk Karol Rosa and Nora Karol. Rosa is minus 175. Karol is plus 150. Fight goes to decision is minus 500. Karol is your other. Lock it in cash games. In fact, Karol is 1, Magny is 2. Minus 500 to go to decision. Relatively close odds. Hint, hint, I'm about to pick her straight up. We'll get there in a second. And 7,600 for her. Rosa is 8,600. Monk, who do you have?
I ended up going with Rosa, but I think it's really close. I think, again, the line here is too wide. My issue with Karol is she doesn't really score too well. She did put up a good score against Mullins, but she got a finish there. She also finished Cowan also in the second round and scored only 79 points, so did not barely hit 9 optimal. Against Edwards, she should be 2-2. You cannot convince me that she beat Jocelyn Edwards whatsoever. In fact, Edwards outscored her tremendously without the bonus. 5 of 8 takedowns, 9 minutes of control. You cannot convince me that she won that fight. But
I can throw something at you. You ready? We're looking at the fight here. We got a little bit of time. I think the first round, even though there's a takedown, 3 minutes of control time, Jocelyn Edwards landed less strikes everywhere, clearly didn't do any damage. Mm-hmm. And I think she got reversed in there, and I think Karol finished on top.
That's
in
true.
Every round, Jocelyn Edwards got a takedown, and then Nora Karol reversed, and she landed. I think 1 and 3 she clearly won. She probably 2 is disputable. By the way, for what it's worth, 230-27. It's a little bit.
It's insane.
It wasn't. It's so yeah. I mean, I'm splitting hairs here. I get your point, but is Karol Rosa really going to have that game plan against her?
I don't know. She surprisingly to me lands well over 6 strikes a minute. She absorbs almost 5, but that shouldn't be an issue with Karol, who averages 3 a minute and really doesn't throw a ton at all. I mean, it was 40 strikes in 15 minutes, 36 strikes in 8 minutes, 54 strikes in 15 minutes. So just not the best output overall. And I don't think she's a big enough dog to like guarantee the value in a decision. Rosa also is the only one that has any kind of takedown for the most part and control. Now, as we just said, Karol does know how to reverse position. In fact, looking at it now, this has to, it's only those 2. She has 4 reversals in her first 2 fights, which was Mullins and Edwards. She could have a little bit more difficulty here with this one, but who's to say? And also, Karol Rosa's striking defense specifically is pretty bad for the most part. So, as I said, 5 strikes a minute, basically less than 50% defense overall. I think Rosa has more tools. I think she's more volume centric, and that could pay dividends. And I just don't know how Karol scores in a decision at 7,600. I will be rostering her for sure. Probably not touching much of this one much of Rosa, I should say, in cash. And I just don't know that it scores tremendously. So I'm going to have to do some looking. Like you said, there aren't a ton of dogs here that really make sense for cash. She's definitely one of them. So I'll probably end up with her roster.
Number 1.
Yeah, but it could easily go the other way, and Rosa could win a close-ish decision. But yeah, I picked Rosa, but I'm not too confident.
Yeah, in cash games, I'll take my 25 points from Karol at 7,600.
Yeah, that's true. If I can get 5 other winners, then that's fine.
GPP is a different story. I understand the concern that even in a win, 7,600 isn't really enough. There are some higher variance fights. She's definitely not like a slam everything all in play in GPPs. I just think for cash games, I think you have to go there. I am going to pick her straight out because Karol Rosa is not defensively responsible. One, her striking is that one fight with Irene Aldana. I like what I see from Cornell. I think she's crafty on the ground. It's a hard-nosed fighter. Close fight, I get it. And it's kind of 50-50, but I lean towards Cornell. But even if you take Rosa, I don't think there's much justification playing her on DraftKings at that salary with her style. Like it's going to be really hard for her to make optimal, even if you think she wins. But regardless of that, I'm going to take Nora Cornell. Let's move on. Let's talk Estevam Ribovic and Elvis Brenner. Ribovic is minus 250. Elvis Brenner is plus 210. Fight ends inside the distance, minus 155. So should be a decent 1-2 target. Ribovic is 9,100. Elvis Brenner is 7,100. Before we go to Monk, I have to put out a plea to the UFC gods. Can we stop giving Elvis Brenner fucking killers? Elvis, you could say no to a fight, brother. Like look at this strength of schedule is I mean, Ribovic is nasty. Miktabek Orlabai, fucking nasty. Joel Alvarez, who I underrated at the start of his career, has proven to be fucking nasty. Like, this is a rough ass run. Not to mention the win against Goram Kutataladze.
Yeah.
So, I mean, props to Elvis Brenner. Big dog here again. Ribovic deservedly the big favorite with his nice little run, even with the loss against Nashville Hackbrass, which, by the way, we both called at UFC this last time out. The Kop Almabayev fight. That being said, Monk, where are you going for this one?
I love Estevam Ribovic, and I always will. He's so fun to watch. The sheer volume and work this guy does is crazy. Yes, he does get hit too much. Yes, he does get controlled when he gets taken down. But 8 strikes a minute is what he lands compared to 4 for Brenner, and they both allow well over 5 strikes a minute back at him. Brenner's defense is worse. Estevam Ribovic, I mean, actually both guys have proven that they can take damage and stay in the fight. I mean, Brenner's hair changed colors halfway through that Kutataladze fight, and Ribovic's Zellhuber was fucking incredible. He put, my guy Terrence McKinney on a highlight reel with that kick. But the Zellhuber one, my goodness, that was amazing. He got hit with 121 strikes and he landed 156. He did get knocked down, but that didn't stop him from finishing the fight or winning the fight. And you also cannot convince me. The second thing you can't convince me of is, and this one would be more difficult, is the hack press is not on every kind of juice there is since USADA went away. All of a sudden, this
juice them all up. Put needles in all their arms.
Exactly, I agree. I don't think it's bad, but he was landing like 3 strikes a minute, and now he lands like 9 or 10. So Ribovic is the volume king. His defense is lacking. However, his chin is fantastic, and just his aggression is basically unmatched. And he should outmatch Elvis Brenner here for sure. So I really like this one. I like him in all formats. This is a great fight to play. Play some of Elvis Brenner as well. Not a ton, because I'm huge on Ribovic, but play a little bit of Brenner in case, the damage just can't put him away. Oralby didn't finish him. Joel Alvarez took 3.5 rounds to finish him.
2.5.
We'll just see. He could be worth something, little bit more than a punt, just barely. But I'm huge on Estevam Ribovic. Probably my first or second favorite play on the card.
Yeah, I like him a bunch. I don't know if I go quite that far because there's a couple other guys, Estevam and Vieira. We already talked about, but he's right. Yep, he's right in this mix. I like Ribovic a bunch. I will say, just like you mentioned, my point that he does take a lot of damage, and Brenner is hard to put away, making Brenner a secondary GPP option for sure. I do think he's live, and he's. You told me he's going to be your kill shot. I wouldn't hate it because there's not a ton of dogs with huge upside, and this one I think is right there. And I don't like how hittable Ribovic is. I don't think I'm going to pull the trigger there. But I like it. I think Elvis Brenner's a little bit underrated, and he takes incredibly tough fucking fights. Like, I hope he doesn't lose this and get cut. I really hope, because lost 3 in a row. He could get cut here. I will take Ribovic. Great GPP fight. make sure I'll go as far to say I'm going to be over the field in Elvis Brenner. It might only be like 15%, but I will be over on Brenner. All right, let's go to the co-main event of the evening. Mateusz Rebecki and Chris Duncan. Duncan is the dog at plus 168. Come back on, or the favorite Rebecki is minus 193. Fight ends inside the distance is minus 210. So again, expect to see a finish here. DraftKings salaries, Rebecki is 9,000. Duncan is 7,200. Monk, co-main, where are you going?
I'm huge on Rebecki. I think he's a big problem.
You can't now. You said you're huge on a lot of guys over 9K. I think at the end,
true.
Before we go to after that, we have a little bit of time after the main. We need to rank our 9K fighters.
That's true. Well, Ribovic and Rebecki, I have the most confidence in. I do have confidence in Estevam, but obviously a little bit lower level than my opinion than Rebecki. That win over Orolbai was fantastic. Yeah, he lost against CDF, but he got hit with a gazillion strikes per minute, and generally that does not happen with Rebecki. And I don't think we're going to have to see that with Chris Duncan here, who averages 4 to 5 strikes a minute depending on what round he is. Chris Duncan has a ton of takedowns, ton of control time on average, but it pales in not pales. It's beaten by Rebecki's numbers in those same departments, and he's also landing well over 5 strikes a minute in rounds 1 and 2. Round 3, he did slow down a little bit. We only have 15 minutes to work with the stats, but that's when he slowed his striking down, and his takedowns shoot up 48%, and his control time shoots up 100% from round 2. So I think Chris Duncan is probably a bit over his head here. His last 2 wins are, Vucenic, Oki, Ajmuz, Omar Morales. Are any of those dudes even in the UFC anymore? I honestly don't know. Maybe Oki is. I know actually Ajmuz is as well, but yeah, I think Rebecki's had the much tougher opponents, especially in his last 2, and just simply that win out grappling Miktabek Orolbai is something that should basically give you at least half a belt on its own. That's everybody's favorite lightweight at the moment is Orolbai. So even at a catch weight, he out grappled him, out controlled him, and outstruck him. So that's 3, the 3 big categories he got beaten in. So I love Rebecki here. Duncan's defense is kind of suspect. Rebecki's striking defense is also suspect, but we're not looking for 8-9 strikes a minute like CDF put up against Rebecki from Duncan. So give me Mateusz to smash this dude.
Yeah, I'm all about Rebecki in this spot as well. Minus 215, like all around, I just like Rebecki better. I was looking for reasons to play Chris Duncan, and I couldn't find many of them other than do I really want to play Danny Silva, Tresean, Gore, or Ketlen or Ketlen Souza?
Souza, yeah.
Yeah, like, okay, I'll play a little bit, but again, Mateusz Rebecki is the way to go. This could be a week to, pick your 3 live underdogs and mix in every combination you can and see if that gets you there. Because there's a lot of dogs here who I would be surprised if they won. Coming off a week where a lot of dogs won, though, obviously it's MMA. It's a high variance sport. I will say Rebecki used to play in all formats. I do think he's live for a big score. Has got a good ceiling, good floor ceiling combination. Not much interest in Duncan. We will rank our 9K fighters because, again, I do feel like we're saying we like the 9K range a bunch this week. So just kind of to recap, I think we're both going to say the main event underdog is live. We'll get there in a second. And then to recap, both like Neo Magny, we said you can mix in Elvis Brenner. And then I don't think, and that's where, Nora Cornell 7,600 and Nick Klein 7,800 are really going to become, options here. That's why. So real quick, before we go to the main event, let's say, we just got a couple of latecomers to the comments. What's up, Sniper and Monk? What's up, Soups? That actually looks delicious. Your profile picture there. Don't call yourself pale, fellas. Plenty tan. No. As a what comedian was it? I think it was Chris Hardwick said I look like a Tumblr page of ranch dressing recipes.
Yeah, and tan is not a word that's in my vocabulary to describe myself.
And Ash, everyone loves a big score. Everyone, size matters. We all know it. It's sad. Yeah, I said it was sad. All right, let's talk about the main event. Tatsuro Taira and Hyun Sung Park coming in on short notice to get a UFC main event. And short notice, he was just supposed to fight next week, so it's not like he's terribly out of shape at a camp. Minus 400 for Taira, plus 300 for Park. Fight ends inside the distance is, where the hell is it? Minus 210, minus 138 to be under 3.5 rounds. Your DraftKings salaries for this one: Taira is 9,200, Park is 7,000. Monk, main event time. Who you got?
I'm going to pick Tatsuro Taira. I think he's just a couple of levels above Park. And I don't mean he's levels of, I just mean literally a couple of levels, just because I don't know what Park is about at this point. I mean, he's beaten, you can't say anything about Shannon Ross. The other guys he's fought is road to the UFC guys, and then Carlos Hernandez. So this is a huge step up, obviously, in competition for him. He throws a ton of volume. He mixes in takedowns and control time very well. In fact, they kind of rival some of the numbers that Taira puts up round around, but obviously Taira's doing it against much, much better competition, even though it's not always the best. Alex Perez, the Brandon Royval fight, 6 of 15, 12 minutes of control. He just got outstruck. He only landed 42 strikes and got hit with 124. What are you going to do, about that? He went, several minutes at a time, a few minutes at a time in that fight, doing basically nothing, where he looked like he was extremely exhausted and literally didn't know what to do. So that is a bit worrisome. But against someone like Hyun Sung Park, I think he's got a decent game plan here, even with the opponent change. Park has not been taken down. Is that correct? He has 100% takedown defense. That's true. That is going to be put to the test. And he only controls 68% of the grappling time. Also going to be put to the test from Taira here. So while I think there are levels here and I'm picking Taira, I think you said earlier that Park is definitely worth, not a punt, but a play, a legitimate play at 7K. And I kind of agree there. Undefeated. While I do think he gets his first loss, I think that there's a chance that he can kind of fuck Taira up on the feet at certain points in this fight if Taira's not, paying attention or moving his head enough. But overall, I think Taira should have the huge grappling advantage and should be able to win a fight on the ground, whether it's decision or by submission.
Yeah, split decision loss to Brandon Royval is no joke. Royval right at the top of this division. Taira is the clear favorite here. I do think this fight scores well. This is a main event I will be over to both guys on, which is, again, why I'm not hating on you. I'm just saying we like a lot of guys in 9K. We got to rank them up here. And Taira with the extra rounds to work with and the finish potential is there. I will, Park is got a great record, can finish and with the based on lack of underdogs, I will play Park as well. This is a classic play both sides spot in a main event. I will say I don't, and I'll talk about this more on Thursday. I don't like stacking this, even though we got flyweights here. It's it's minus 210 to end inside the distance, minus 138 to end under 3.5 rounds, where you lose a lot, your potential for extra rounds. You lose a bunch of this. I would say I would either play Taira or play neither. You can play neither this week, and we will play with some of the builds on that cash game show. But I'm on Tatsuro Taira. GPPs, I want to be over on both sides. Now, don't go anywhere. We got 2 extra things to do. We got to do kill shots, which we'll break down in a second, but we need to rank our 9K fighters. We won't include Austin Bashi because we haven't talked about him. So, Monk, just top 3. We don't got to rank them all. Your top 3 of Estevam, Taira, Vallejos, Nakamura, Ribovic, Rebeshki. And we're talking GPPs. So one more time. In GPPs, Estevam, Taira, Vallejos, Nakamura, Ribovic, Rebeshki. For me, I am going to go, and I get off easy because Vieira is 8,900 and doesn't quite qualify. But for me, I'm going to say it's actually Taira 1, Estevam 2. Do I want to say Ribovic or Duncan or Rebeshki? I'll say Rebeshki 3. But at that one, the third is close. How about for you in terms of 9K?
It's kind of surprising, to be honest, even to myself, but in some order, I think it's Ribovic, Rebeshki, and Estevam, to be quite honest. Like, I think I can't get away from Ribovic or Estevam, and I think Rebeshki has huge potential here. So it's probably
not playing Taira is going to give you leverage in GPPs if he doesn't end up there. Because I'm eating a little bit of chalk with some main event chalk. And it's one of those things I'm going to play with as we get later in the week. Did a cash game show. I'm toying around with the GPP strategy show. We'll see how that goes. Definitely do the cash game one. We're not done yet, guys. So hit the like button. We're going to do kill shots. If you don't know what a kill shot is, welcome to the show. And you, just like everybody else, should smash the like button, subscribe everywhere. So Sniper Wins on YouTube Tuesday nights, live streamed. DFS Army YouTube channel Thursdays, drop the recording. Killshot is an under-owned GPP play who can help you win it all. Can't be any chalk. No chalk in here. And I think more than ever, I'm pretty sure Neil Magny qualifies as chalk this week.
Yeah,
I think
you're probably right.
He definitely qualifies as chalk. And you know what? I'm gonna. It's not a cop-out. I have some dogs picked. I think the leverage spot I want to make people aware of is a favorite. Feel free to veto, but I think the kill shot, you need to be overweight to the first fight of the night. Give me Piera Rodriguez. Do not sleep on her in GPPs. Monk, who you got?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree there. And if I can't pick Magny, I mean, Klein is probably going to be overall.
I think that's fine.
Klein's probably fine. If people don't like that, I would go way down the fucking list and give you Danny Silva for a GPP kill shot.
Oh, yeah, it's fine. I don't like it, but fine. I think if they just that mid-range fight, people might lose in Pulyaev and Klein and say, take Klein. I think that's fine.
Right. Yep.
All right, anything else before we get out of here, Monk?
That is going to do it. I'm really looking forward to this one. I wish it was a day card, but you can't win them all every week.
Now, I like the night. As somebody with kids and things to do on Saturday, I prefer the night cards. I got to rewatch prelims when it's early in the day.
That's true.
I mean, you know what? I don't mind mixing it up though. Just like between the Apex and in-fight and full arenas, I don't mind an Apex card every once in a while. I don't mind a day card every once in a while either. Next week, by the way, we're looking ahead to. There's a lot of changes and things happening next week. Dolidze and Anthony Hernandez.
Yes.
This card right now is you know what? It's funny. It's a disaster in terms of in and out. And I've heard people shit on this card. I'm not going to shit on this card. I've heard people shit on it. Steve Erceg's in a fight. I think pretty sure it's Ode Osborne at this point.
Yes.
Christian Rodriguez, Andrey Fili is a fun fight, even if I hate Christian Rodriguez. I'm looking forward to Miles John's John Matsumoto. I think that is an underrated, really fun fight. Sequeira may be one of the worst fighters to ever fight in the UFC.
True.
And he's going to take on fucking Julius Walker. That is a hilarious disaster that I'm all about. And you can't hate when you got Priscilla catch a beating against Jazzy Edwards.
And she's going to do just that against Edwards.
Is she, though? All of a sudden, she's not bad. It's funny. It's pretty funny. So we'll talk about all of those fights and more next week, breaking down the DraftKings strategy. See you guys in the DFS Army Discord. Make sure you join it. The links in the YouTube description and anywhere else you find them. For Monk, I'm Sniper. Helmets up, guys. Good luck, and we'll see you next week.